I am tall.
I gotta go see my Carol.
Hi, Julie.
All right, did you figure out?
Be careful, please.
No.
The good news is this class takes a lot of doing the same thing over and over again. So that works out really well for anyone who joins us later. Hi, Lori. Allison is here. She says hi. She is. She's having some therapy from our Champagne friends. And I, tonight, am going to be doing a lot of basic wire wrapping, but in a particular configuration. So what I'm going to make is... Sorry, oh, good grief, Siri, stop it. I left the example over on the other side. I'll be right back, sorry.
You can look up the value of the property. You can look up if there someone like that probably doesn't have a deed of trust. That's probably yeah. You know.
But you think about it too, like I wonder if even if she takes it,
Okay, hi Keiko. I am back. I have a sample. So, bye Sally. So what I'm doing tonight is showing you how to wire wrap.
She could have paid $16 million in cash and financed $1 million. So you look at that.
Oh my! If you've good vibes, if you've had the most chaotic day ever, I can't wait to hear about it because it sounds like most of your days are fairly chaotic, actually. So what we're doing today is we are wire wrapping chips with chain. So it's a very simple technique, but it really looks very, very cool. And please enlighten us, good vibes. Okay, sorry, ladies in the background, I can't actually hear. Sorry. Keep going, just slightly lower volume. There's been champagne. It's a thing. So, hi, I am Heather. I am filling in from Beading Dreams for Allison. I am here to teach you how to do some things, and today people have been requesting things about chips and how to use chips. So I am using chips in chain, and I'm not gonna, actually I could do that, but I don't have all the right parts for that. So I am switching the chips that I'm using, and I'm not doing a very strict pattern with them. So I am going to use bronze chain, and I am going to use these absolutely ridiculously pretty rutilated quartz. And you all know how Allison and I love rutilated quartz, or quartz with junk in it. So this is quartz that has the mineral rutile growing in it, and it is so pretty, and I need to focus that because what I tried on earlier clearly was not the right thing. So let me just focus that while I'm talking to you. So rutilated quartz is when quartz has another mineral called rutile growing in it, and rutile occurs in a lot of different colors. That's a little too close. It's a little farther away. Sorry. That's good. Okay. And that's good. Excellent. Okay. So rutile in this case is golden rutile, which does come in green and gold and copper. You can also have tourmalinated quartz, which is tourmaline. You can have green tourmalinated quartz, you can have black tourmalinated quartz. Technically you could have tourmalinated quartz of any color, but those are the two most common, and black being the most common. Oh my goodness! So you have twin cousins. That's very exciting. And what else happened? So this rough of the stone is absolutely gorgeous. And I hate to miss out on absolutely gorgeous rough just because the shape is not one that I typically prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this anyway because you can make gorgeous things out of chips. A lot of times chips end up with really, really pretty stone because they're made from like the leftover parts from when the stone is cut. So you can get some really gorgeous stone in perhaps a less sought after shape, but that doesn't matter because you can make beautiful things with it anyway. Last week I was working on a tree of life, and I still am working on finishing that because I have not had any extra time, and the customer for whom this is designed is not in town, so when she gets back in town or is heading back in town, I will be finishing that. But here's a tree of life that I did last time, and that's also with chips. I love using chips in a tree of life. So this is also another thing that you can do, and I have at least a third chips class in me. So if y'all want more chips, I am happy to provide. Just let me know. Wow, that is crazy good vibes. My gosh, 3 a.m. And I mean, that is not when I'm at my best. I'm actually, okay, that's a lie. 3 a.m. I'm more myself than anyone ever should be at 3 a.m. 3 p.m. I just want to nap. So my body does not like normal times. I was built to be one of those people who kept watch around the fire at night when everybody else slept. That's really how that. No, good vibes. That's not good. Nobody likes that. That is absolutely chaos. So I'm doing basic wire wrapping, which is a thing that we do here on the Beading Dreams fairly frequently because it is one of the most powerful techniques that we teach, because you can use this in so many different ways, which is awesome. We love that. So I am using 24 gauge wire today. You can use 24, you can use 26, you can use 22, depends on the stones that you're using. 24 is a good medium size for chips because it's going to fit most chips while giving you some good strength. Oh my goodness. Wow, good vibes. Okay, so yes to third chips class. Got it. Y'all just let me know when you're sick of chips classes and I'll stop. But I can come up with as many as needed. So for wire wrapping, we're going to use a couple different tools. We've got round nose pliers. These are also in jewelry terms sometimes known as needle nose pliers. In hardware terms, these are the pliers that are more often called needle nose pliers. So these are in jewelry terms called chain nose pliers, and a big difference is that there are no ridges on the inside, which means that I can squeeze my metal all I want and I'm not going to accidentally texture it like ridges on a potato chip, which is not ideal because that makes things sharp and weak, and that's bad. That sharp and weak are terrible. Got it, Sharon. So you are all about more chips classes as well. Awesome. So I've got my round nose pliers with the tips like the ice cream cone. These are amazing for making round loops of varying sizes. I've got my chain nose pliers, which are not needle nose pliers. It's good to see you, Sharon. And I've got wire cutters, so I've got 2 pairs of wire cutters, so I'm probably going to just switch back and forth based on which one is closest. Background ladies, I just a little bit quieter. Keep talking, but just a little quieter, because I feel like everyone can hear you. So when you are faced with a pair of wire cutters, side cutters, because the blade is on the side of the tool rather than the tip of the tool, the way to tell where the blade is squeeze them together, and you've got one side that's going to be convex, or sorry, you have one side that's concave, and one side where the blades meet, which is going to be more flat. And if you can't tell with your eyes, you can tell with your fingers. And that's okay. These are not the kind of blades that will cut you, and you also won't damage them if you touch them. So that's good news. Some obviously are very, very concave, and others are more subtly concave. So you want to, the blade side is more obvious than the other side. You always want to hear, right, exactly, Lori. So you always want to have the blade side closest to the cut that you're trying to make, because that will give you a smaller little tail to deal with, which is ideal. Oh no, I'm so sorry you lost a goat. Wow, okay, so good vibes, you've had quite the day. I'm very sorry to hear that it was so chaotic. Goodness gracious. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my round nose pliers, because I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to put my wire into my loop, into my pliers, and I don't want a small loop. Sometimes we make really little tiny loops, and sometimes we make bigger loops. I'm going to be a little bit close to the middle of the pliers, but smaller than the middle, because I have large links here, and I don't want to have them the same size as the links, but I also don't want them to be too tiny, because that would be sad. So, wow, okay, my goodness. Okay, good vibes, that is a very chaotic day, and definitely needs a do-over. Is there a treat that you can give yourself? Because I would like for you to have a treat. I would provide you with one if I could, but I am not in the right continent currently. So I'm going to bend the wire away from me at a 90-degree angle here. I'm going to loosen my pliers and rotate them up. I'm going to bring the wire back over the top of the pliers down to meet the other piece of wire, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to hold both pieces of wire while I loosen my pliers and rotate them all the way up, kind of like I'm revving a motorcycle. And then I'm going to complete my loop by pushing the wire away from me, cheating toward the tips of the pliers. Now I'm going to look at the loop that I've made. So I'm trying to show the camera, and oh my goodness, wow, it just keeps being chaotic. You are not wrong. This is like a chaotic week, but crashed into 24 hours. So at this point, I'm looking at my loop and making sure that everything is straight up and down and doesn't look weird. So now I'm going to take the open loop before I close it. I'm going to attach it to a loop of chain. So now I'm going to close my loop by holding on to just the loop that I just made with my chain nose pliers. And I use 2 pairs of chain nose pliers to do this, not because one must, but because I have tennis elbow, and this helps keep my tennis elbow from getting worse all the time, because this particular motion, squeezing things very small with my hand, does not feel very good in my elbows. So nobody wants me to get more. Yeah. Okay, Julie, I am glad that you are no longer driving and that you are safe. And if you need anything, we are here. Goodness gracious. Good vibes. And yes, Keiko, this technique will always give you good loops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that short end, I'm going to wrap it around the other wire, and I want to go at least 1.5 times, but for this technique I'm going to go about 2.5 times. And then I'm going to use my wire cutters, and this technique is easiest if you end with the tail either away from you or towards you, but either way outside of the plane of what we call the lady with the scarf. The reason for that is because we don't want to risk cutting off the side of the lady's head when we come in here and trim. And I am putting my finger over where that end of the wire was because I don't want to shoot it at you. Yeah, that was a 10 out of 10 day as far as number of activities. Certainly good vibes. I don't know if it was a 10 out of 10 day as far as an actual rating. Oh, got it. So we will accept the undisclosed location, though. I'm intrigued by your being some sort of spy. I like this. All right, so now I'm going to put on some beads. So I'm just adding some of the chips, and I'm not going to do a pattern today. I'm just going to randomly add chips and just do up to 5 at a time. I'm not going to do more than 5 because if you put too much on a piece of wire, what tends to happen is it bends a lot, and when metal bends a lot, as you may have learned from playing with pipe cleaners as a kid, if metal bends a lot, then you end up with metal fatigue and things can break.
I'm sorry, but that was just, that's exactly.
So we don't want things breaking. Things breaking is bad. However, if things are going to break, this is the kind of necklace for things to break on, because this is all very modular construction. So if something breaks, you can just redo that one section, which is awesome. So now I have my beads on, and I'm going to do this whole process again. So I've got the very tips of my wire, or my round nose pliers, on top of the beads, and I'm also making sure that I'm looking at the side of my loop. So if I were a round loop, I would not be looking at the circle, I'd be looking at the line because it's turned sideways, because we want our loops to be facing the same direction, essentially. So I've got my very tips of the pliers on top here, even though that is not the size of a loop that I want to make, because I'm going to cheat. So I'm going to bend away, and then I'm going to rotate my pliers up, but instead of staying there, I'm going to scooch up so I have a bit of a bigger loop. And you can do this with your wire wrapping. The deal is, when you get to the part where you have your full loop made, you're going to have to adjust a little bit, because what's going to happen is you will have a loop. Your ideal is a loop on top of a stick like a lollipop. If you do not want your loop, or if your loop is not round on a stick like a lollipop, then what you want is to rotate the lollipop stick around your round nose pliers until it does sit there like a lollipop, because that's your ideal.
I'm going to give myself a little break here.
And I am going to, let's see, how many pieces do I want in between?
And so I didn't have a spine to say, listen, you, I'm listening to you. I want to, I need
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, I just kept, I was like, okay, fine. Hide, separate.
So now I'm going to link this other end.
No, that was never, we never met at holiday things, actually one time
And click that into place. You want to make sure it's fully inside your loop, because if it is not inside your loop, then you are going to have issues, because you're going to close your loop and then you're not going to be actually attached to your chain, which is sadness. And nobody wants sadness here. We all want happiness. So I've got my loop, and I'm just going to wrap my wire down until it meets. That's fair. Julie, are you doing wire wrap loops, or are you doing simple loops, because simple loops definitely suffer from that. So I've got my, when you wrap down to meet your beads, typically about 2.5 times is the amount of space that you are going to get from using the tips of your pliers to that first bend. So now I have wrapped down to my beads, and I'm going to approach kind of from the top to trim this end, because I want to get as close a cut as I can, and then I'm going to use my chain nose pliers. Got it. That makes sense. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers just to smooth that end down, by which I mean I'm going to add a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to kind of rotate slightly in the direction of my actual coils. So now I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut another piece of chain. And I can pre-cut my chain, but I don't know that I'm for sure going to do 5 links in between for each one of these. We'll see. So now I'm going to do another wire wrap loop. So I start, bend away, loosen, rotate up, bring the wire back over the top down to meet the other wire and stop. And if you are doing this particular technique for wire wrapping and you walk away and you come back and you've made this shape, don't worry, you are actually doing everything correctly. You just haven't done all the shapes. This is a weird shape. This is what I refer to as the pelican head, because it looks like a pelican head. So if you come back and you have that shape, you just want it to be on the bottom jaw of your pliers, and you want the short wire closest to you. So I'm going to put that on my pliers, and I'm going to complete my loop by pushing away. And I always want to look at my loop when I'm done, because if I look at my loop when I'm done, and I cannot actually, there it is. So you can see that I've got a loop and I've got a nice straight line. But if my particular loop did not look like that, because I just unfixed it, I broke it. Good vibes, that's great. I know that you prefer to eat at this time of night. So what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm just going to use my round nose pliers to hold the wire in place gently, because round nose pliers can dent your wire, so don't go full She-Ra on this, no Hulk smash, just enough pressure so you can hold your wire in place. And I'm just going to rotate my body wire, if this were a lady with a scarf. So here's the lady's head is around the pliers, the scarf is the short piece, and the body wire is the rest of it. So I'm just going to rotate the body around until it is lined up in underneath. And once I've got that all straightened out, we do actually do tutorials every Wednesday at 6-ish, 6 artistic time, on all Wednesdays at Central Time. So I'm not sure where you're located, but 6-ish Central Time. Typically it is a little after 6, because we are a brick and mortar bead store and we close at 6, and so our time is not always our own right when we close. Sometimes we have late customers, so we usually don't even get to start trying to get online till 6-ish. So Fridays we also, thank you, I'm so glad you're here, welcome. On Fridays we also have tutorials. Usually it's going to be what we refer to as Fire Fridays, so it's going to be a soldering tutorial or some other tutorial that involves fire in a happy way. Every once in a while it becomes a little exciting, and it's maybe not as happy to certain things. Witness the sad mouse. That happened during a soldering tutorial once. It was not a torch. It was actually a soldering iron because we were doing a particular type of pendant. But yes, we do tutorials, and they are archived on Twitch, and we port them over to YouTube after Twitch is done with archiving them, because Twitch only saves things for so long. So yes, thank you for joining us, and my name is Heather, and again, I'm here from Beading Dreams. We are a brick and mortar bead store, and we have been streaming since the pandemic started. Allison is the owner. She took one day off and figured out how to stream, and immediately went back to both kind of running the store in absentia and also streaming. And we can't let go of our beautiful followers. We have created such an awesome community. We're never going away, y'all, is pretty much what I'm saying here. So we have at least 2 tutorials a week, and we also have on Saturday nights what we refer to either as freeform, where we just do a project that isn't actually, it's sometimes more complicated than we can teach, but we can do it while you watch. Or we do Zoom, so it alternates. Every other week is Zoom, and the alternate ones are freeform. And yeah, we are doing our best. We sometimes have to cancel things because we are human and overestimate the amount of stuff we can do with no sleeping, which turns out to be less than you would think. So Ms. Happy Geek, where are you from? Are you in the US or are you elsewhere? Alright, so once again I'm going to do a wire up loop. So I've got my tips of the pliers, going to bend away, going to rotate the pliers back up and kind of cheat up. And no, we're definitely not robots. No. Oh, I love Atlanta. I lived in Knoxville and spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I used to, back in a former life, I used to DJ for blues and swing dances, and Atlanta had a very vibrant community, and I was very good friends with a lot of the people there. So I would go and DJ for lots and lots of their events, and it was so much fun. So I have spent a lot of time in Atlanta and have enjoyed every minute of it. It was really fun. I miss that a lot. I can't really do it because I had a 50-50 shot of getting early onset arthritis from my mom, or not getting early onset arthritis from my dad, and I lost that particular lottery. I got the early arthritis, so now I can't really dance so much anymore, but I love keeping up with my friends online. I'm so glad I can do that. Alright, so I've done a 3 and a 5. How many beads should I put on the next one? I am looking for user input. It can be any number that is greater than 0 and less than 5. Or less than or equal to 5, rather. 3. Got it. I could do 4. Well, 3 was first, so I'll do 3 this time and then 4. But the idea here is I kind of want chaos. I don't want to... I mean, because chips are kind of chaos in their very nature. So I am embracing that, and I am just going to let them do their thing. I absolutely love these stones. They are so pretty. The rough of these is just... I mean, look how pretty that is with all that rutile. Oh, it's so pretty. So I've got 3 on this one, and then 4 can be next, and then I'll ask for a vote for the next one, and we'll just keep going. So I may or may not finish this entire necklace during the time I'm online, which is fine. because the point of this is to show you the technique, and what I'm planning to do essentially is make a long enough necklace to just go over my head. So I could absolutely use this exact technique to wire up on a clasp. I can't go. It was post-college. Well, okay, so that's not true. It was second time around college, because I actually went back to school as an adult because I really wanted to study geology, and it turned out that I am allergic to rock dust. So that was not ideal. I learned I was sick all the time in my geology classes because it turned out all the labs were making me sick. And so I took a semester off from classes and did not have or from geology classes, not all classes, but geology classes, did not have a single migraine. And I have been tested for allergies, and I'm allergic to all the dusts. Like, there are 2 different types of dust you can be allergic to, and I'm allergic to all of them. Yeah, so not ideal. So it turns out I am a terrible geologist, but since I love working with rocks and gems and things like that, it was there's nothing wrong with going back to school. Going back to school is awesome, because I feel like if I had a bazillion dollars, what I would do with my time is I would volunteer and I would take classes. That's what I would do with my time. And I would take classes that I cared about, but all, auditing or pass-fail, so I wouldn't care if I decided to take a long weekend and go somewhere and do something. That'd be awesome. But I'd also, buy other people. I would spend a lot of my money just anytime someone said, "Whoa, okay, Julie, that is wild." But I have a friend with that as well. And it's tough. It is really tough. I feel like I have that. I mean, I don't really, but Jason, you do too know about those people who go back to school. You know me. That's horrible, Julie. I mean, how is an 8-year-old never supposed to go outside? Because I love when I don't go outside, but I'm an adult and I don't play any sports or anything anymore, so that's awful. I mean, I know there are a lot of ways to work around that now, more than there used to be, but my gosh, what a thing to be saddled with. And yeah, I would spend so much time just giving away money. If I had money to give away, it would be so great. Okay, so I've got 3, and then I'm going to do 4, and what's the number after 4? Stream. I mean, seriously, look at that bead. Look how pretty. This could absolutely be made into a bracelet. It could be made into a bracelet. It could be earrings. It could be anything you want, really. You can, I mean, if you want to do a bracelet, you may have to change the length of the chain in between. You might have to make some adjustments. But 6 is after 3 and 4, just not right after. Okay. Okay, wait, now I'm confused. So Lori has put 6, but then changed her mind to 5. So yes, Miss Happy Geek, this is a technique that you could use to make anything you want. You could make earrings, or a necklace, or a bracelet, or an ankle bracelet, or whatever. I could absolutely do 1 or 2. So when you make a wire wrap loop in this particular technique, once you have made your loop, you have to ask yourself a very important question. And your very important question is, do I need to link this to something? I don't really want to put 6 on a wire. I could put 6 on a wire. I said no more than 5, but I could do 6 if you want a 6. That will happen. That could happen, and it would not really, since this is 24 gauge wire, it wouldn't test the structural integrity too much. We could make that work, absolutely. So I could do 6 next if you like. 6 babies. All right, so next is 6 because that's what Lori actually said. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this might be fun to do as well since it is so random. I love people who make like weather blankets. I don't know if you've seen those. I also knit, so it's a knitting and crochet community type thing, and you do 1 row per day based on the weather that you had that day. And so it's either, some people do them with a different stitch pattern, some people do them with a different color. It is gonna be so pretty, but you could do this, you know, with birth dates or birthstones or something like that. You could do a weather necklace. It's snowing there again. Oh, I'll be right there. I'm so jealous. It is not snowing here. I just want snow. So obviously you can do as many or as few of these as you would like. So that was 4. Here goes 6, 2, 4, 6.
That was it. It was Beading grants paid $1,000 a month, and Neil collected $1,000, $7,000 deductible, and that's kind of stuff. Yeah, you know, but
I was, instead of reading that, Jason, as cursing, I was trying to parse what you said. Like, it looked like a code. I love snow. I want it all the time. I don't live in the right place. Really don't. Ooh, JC. Thank you. I will definitely, we have a Discord. Can someone post the Discord for me, please? Because I can't do a command from here. And honestly, I don't know if the MooBot is working because it wasn't. But if anyone can try to post the Discord, that would be amazing. Let's see if that works. Okay, MooBot is just asleep at the wheel, so give me a second, let me post the Discord. Sorry, I'm doing a workaround. Ooh, that's not good. Alright, there you go. There's a link to Discord. So I will set Allison on that when she is... Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Sorry, I did not mean to echo. Okay, yeah, that sounds great, Keiko. I'm on it. Let's do it. Gonna. All right. So what number was after 6? Someone tell me. Yeah, we definitely have had some flooding here in the past few days. It's not ideal. And yesterday we were supposed to have more storms, but the wind was so intense the storms blew away before they actually happened. So that was pretty good, I guess.
I love that phrase.
Yeah. I know, right? It's very great. No, I know.
3 or 4?
What about getting about that is that it puts
Or do we want to do 2
on me.
or 1?
And I think personally,
So how about 3, then 1, then 5? Sound good?
that I just can't, and it's on my fault. And then
That's changing the interpretation. That's only
And
you are
another reason I really love wire wrapping, this particular technique, is because if something goes horribly wrong and you make the worst loop of your entire life, then all you have to do is redo that section. You don't have to redo the whole thing. You just redo the horrible loop and its compatriot on the other side, and then you can just continue on, which is amazing. Y'all, I couldn't sleep last night because wind. I can't sleep in the wind. It creeps me out for some reason. So I was awake learning about the fact that there are 2 lines in the entire world around the globe that are just really straight lines that had nothing to do with human intervention on where population is, essentially. The first line is across kind of the top of Africa, and it's where the Sahara is, which makes sense. And the other is, so originally it was the 100th meridian in America, and it has since changed. Well, I mean, that was just a feature, Keiko, not a bug. I was actually awake. So the other is in America, and it started out at the 100th meridian and ended up at, so right now it's at the 98th meridian, and essentially it is a natural barrier between the east and the west of America, and it is, this video is crazy. I should post it in our Discord because it really is extremely interesting. It's so it is, it happens because of the structure of the geology of America. So America has in the west a whole bunch of big mountain ranges, and mountain ranges, the bigger they are, especially the Rockies, make rain shadows, and I don't even know how I ended up down that rabbit hole. I mean, it was, I tend to watch, when I'm going down rabbit holes, I tend to watch reels, and they range from informative things to dance videos to comedians, and apparently the informative things were winning last night because I got on this really cool thing. So the rain shadows of not just the Rockies but other mountain ranges as well, like there's the Rockies and their rain shadow, and then the Cascades and the Sierra Nevadas and all the mountains that are down the west coast. There's a small area in between there and the Rockies that also ends up essentially being a desert because they don't get enough water. And that is just, I mean, it's fascinating. So the only reason, so we have 2/3 of the population of the US is to the east of this line, and 1/3 of it is to the west of the line, and 2/3 of the population to the west of the line is California. So you've got the population on the coast, you've got California, and then you have the other coastal cities, like Portland is close enough to count, it's on that side of the mountains, so it counts as a coastal city. So you've got Portland and Seattle and but just the idea that between the 98th meridian and the coast, the Pacific coast, that you have 1/3 of the American population, and 2/3 of that is one state. Everybody else is just kind of scattered. And there was a geologist in 1878 who was the first one to discover this particular phenomenon, this line that you can very easily see. And John Wesley Powell, I think was his name. It was very late at night, so please forgive me if that is not actually his name. If Mary were on, she would be telling us right now. But he actually went to Congress and he specifically recommended that we change how we do the borders of the states west of this particular meridian, because he was suggesting we need to make them about where water is available rather than just where we want them to be. And we didn't do that, obviously, because the US government at that point was no more interested in climatology than it is now. So it's a fascinating video. So if we had done that, it might have made a difference, but it has not. And as a result, the arable land has shifted east even more. So the amount of space that's taken up by this 1/3 of the population that just can't get enough water, it keeps moving. Like the latitudinal lines, the meridian, or longitudinal line, sorry, it has moved from the 100th to the 98th, and it's still moving. So it's because we just, like, the climate is changing. Things that used to happen to create enough rain to move over the mountains and that sort of thing, it's just not happening anymore. All right, so how many beads after the 1? So I've got 3 and 5 and 3 and 4 and 6 and 3 and 1. What's next? So I'll do one more set and stop talking about this particular reel that I got stuck on. But it was fascinating. Seriously, I'll post it in Discord because it was really interesting. It taught me a lot. Because, yeah, it's not something you would think about. So the straight line is moving. So this one's 5. Got it. Yeah, the straight line is moving. It's crazy. Now, the straight line in Africa is pretty much staying the same because, again, Sahara Desert. That's what causes that straight line, is the Sahara Desert just exists there and it does its thing, and nobody can really populate the area so much because 5, 2, 4, 3. Okay, we'll have to make note because I'm going to stop at some point because we're definitely reaching. I'm not going to finish this, which is okay because this is going to be a long piece, but look how pretty it is. I mean, it really is. It's going to turn out awesome. But yeah, they were also pointing out that, Dallas averages, I think, 38 inches of rainfall a year, and then they went to Amarillo, which averages about maybe 26 inches of rain per year, and then Midland averages about 16 inches of rain per year, and it just... All right, let me make a note. Okay, go. Pattern maker. All right. So, 2, 4.
No, I need to bring it up.
6, 2, 4. Got it. Okay. So I also had a really interesting dream the other night, which was pretty hilarious. And by the other night, I mean the other day when I took a nap. It was awesome. So I had such an epic nap. It was so... You know those naps when you wake up and you feel like a new person? That's what it was. But also I had the most amazing dream. So I was at the Special Olympics, and I was part of a group that was helping the kids do fancy makeup. This is going to come out unpatterned, but that was the idea. Because, chips are chaos. So we were teaching all the kids to do makeup specifically on their chins. Like, there was a glitter ombre that we were doing on their chins, and it was primarily dads who were coming by to learn how to do the glitter ombre. I don't know if that was because the dads were most of the helpers, or because the dads needed the most help doing the glitter ombre. I don't know. My dream brain did not tell me, and we're going with whatever it told me. So it was all inspired by Beyonce somehow. Not beards. No, it wasn't beards. It wouldn't work with beards. It was just naked chin, and you did a color in the middle, and then it went to different colors on the outside. And it looked really cool in the dream, but again, inspired by Beyonce somehow. I do not have any idea why the Special Olympics were doing glitter chins or what Beyonce had to do with it, but I was just there helping. And we were watching the Special Olympics as it happened, and they were... this one girl was on, and she was doing a bar exercise, and she was amazing, gymnastics. So they showed this really great clip of her practicing, and there were these boys who were there, or people competing as boys, and so they were watching her, and they were all like, "She's amazing. That is fantastic." And they just had their parallel bars, which is not nearly the same as uneven parallel bars. And she was doing this fantastic routine. We were all watching, and her dad got so excited at the end of the routine that he ran out to hug her before she had completed her dismount. So he kind of knocked her over in mid-dismount, but the judges were like, "Okay, we see where you were going with that. That is not your fault. You still get the full points that you were going to get." But it was just the cutest thing. Like, he was so excited for her, and like tackle hugged her. Yeah. So anyway, here is where we are with our project right now. And I've got a bunch of chain and a bunch of beautiful wire wrapped glittery rutilated quartz. And it was just awesome. The whole thing was awesome. It was just happiness. I tried to wake up at one point, or my brain was like, "You should wake up," and my other brain was like, "No, this is too good. We're going back." So all good. So I can just keep going with this as long as I want. and I will post a picture. I already posted a link to Discord, and I really want to finish this up, but I cannot do that tonight because otherwise we'll be here forever. So I will come up with another chip tutorial for next week, because I know we definitely have more people who want chip tutorials. So thinking earrings, and so I'll get back to you on that one. We'll have a sample picture online so you'll know what we're doing. And does anyone have any questions, since I am terrible? Okay, so anyone have any questions so far, or is that everything all good? Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you new people for showing up. That was amazing. We're so happy to have you. Hoping that you join our Discord if you're a Discord person. If you are not, then just stay tuned. You can follow us here at Twitch TV/Beading Dream. We also have a Facebook page. Okay. We also have a Facebook page. Sorry, I need more chain, so I don't have to hunch down. So, see, you look so pretty. I'm just naturally this awesome, Jason. I don't actually have to practice. It's just, so, I love it. It's so pretty. I want it long. So join our Discord, follow us on Twitch, follow us on Facebook. It's Beading Dreams on Facebook. We also have YouTube, and we love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So I think that was unconscious. So I am here. My name is Heather. I'm here from Beading Dreams, which is an actual brick and mortar retail bead shop here in Dallas, Texas. It's blizzarding again. Oh my goodness, Julie. I will be right there if I could get through the blizzard, and if I were allowed to leave, which I'm obviously not. But we stream no podcast today, so we are doing an awesome podcast, but it is every other week, so we can regroup and try to be our best selves. Otherwise, poor Allison just doesn't sleep, and we don't like it when Allison doesn't sleep. Nobody likes it when Allison doesn't sleep. So every other week we are doing a gemstone history podcast. It's usually about awesome stones or pieces of jewelry from history. I don't even know if we know which one we're doing next week. Last week was A Tale of Three Pearls. We have 4 episodes live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can also watch the filming of the podcast on YouTube. Those are archived as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we are going to be right back here tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m.-ish Central Time, 6:30 Artistic Time, and we're going to do a sale, live merchandise sale. So we do ship everywhere in the continental U.S. First purchase is free shipping, which is amazing. And if you are not purchasing for the first time, then your shipping is going to be, if you spend at least $40, it is free shipping, and we can hold your purchases until you reach the $40 as well. We have no problem with that. Good night to everyone. Thank you all so much for being here, and we will see you hopefully tomorrow night.
We will.
And Allison says yes, we will, because she gets to go home. And now we're going to close up, and now that I'm done streaming, there is no background noise. So
Sorry. You're the worst.
Just the loudest. Not the worst, just the loudest.
The loudest. You're just loud.
Thank you all so much for being here. Good night.